If your GLP-1 results started strong and then suddenly slowed down or completely stalled, this is usually the reason, and it's not what most people think. Because in many cases, nothing actually went wrong. Your body just adapted, and no one told you what to do next. I'm Philip Marks, head nurse practitioner here at Regenics, and one of the most common conversations we have with patients is this: I was losing weight consistently, and then everything just stopped. And understandably, the reaction is, did the medication stop working? But clinically, that's rarely the issue. What's actually happening is more subtle, and once you understand it, you can usually get things moving again. And in this video, I'm going to share the 6 factors that will get your GLP-1 weight loss journey right on track again. Factor 1, the misunderstanding. Most people go into GLP-1 therapy with a very linear expectation. They expect weight loss to look like this: steady and a consistent drop over time. But physiologically, that's not how fat loss works. What we see instead happens in 3 phases. Phase 1, early response. Phase 2, adaptation. And Phase 3, a period where progress depends much more on behavior than the medication itself. And if that shift isn't recognized, that's where stalls happen. Factor 2, metabolic adaptation, the real driver. As you lose weight, your body becomes more efficient. Your total daily energy expenditure decreases, and you require fewer calories to maintain your weight than you did before. So even if your eating habits haven't changed, the deficit that was driving fat loss early on may no longer exist. This is what we refer to as metabolic adaptation, and it's a normal and expected response. It's also one of the main reasons progress slows or stalls. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because your body has adjusted to what you were doing. Factor 3, appetite versus structure. GLP-1 medications are very effective at reducing appetite, especially early on. But over time, that effect tends to stabilize. Your appetite doesn't disappear, it becomes more regulated. And this is where another shift happens. In the beginning, reduced appetite naturally creates a calorie deficit. Later on, that deficit becomes more dependent on structure. If meal timing is inconsistent, if protein intake is too low, or if eating patterns become more reactive rather than intentional, progress slows down. The medication still supports you, but it's no longer doing all the work. Factor 4, the invisible calorie problem. Another pattern we see frequently is what we call invisible intake. Because appetite is lower, people are less aware of how their intake is distributed. Small additions throughout the day, snacking, liquid calories, and less structured meals can gradually close the deficit without it being obvious. And over time, that's enough to stall progress. Not in a dramatic way, but just enough that the scale stops moving. Factor 5, muscle loss and metabolic slowdown. This is one of the most overlooked factors. If protein intake is too low and there's little to no resistance training, your body can lose lean muscle along with fat. And muscle plays a key role in metabolism. So as lean mass decreases, your metabolic rate can decrease further, which again reduces the deficit that was driving progress. This is why we emphasize muscle preservation so heavily, especially on GLP-1 medications. Factor 6, the dose isn't the issue. Most of the time. When progress stalls, the immediate thought is, do I need to increase my dose? And sometimes that's appropriate. But more often than not, the issue isn't the medication itself, it's everything around it. Increasing the dose without addressing structure, nutrition, and activity usually doesn't solve the underlying problem. It may temporarily suppress appetite more, but that doesn't fix the system. So when you step back and look at it, a stall isn't a failure, it's a signal. It's your body telling you what worked in the beginning, now it needs to evolve. Because early on, the medication creates momentum, but later on, your habits determine how far that momentum goes. If your progress has slowed or stopped, the goal isn't to panic, and it's not to assume this isn't working. It's to understand what changed. Because in most cases, this is where the real progress starts, when you move from relying on the medication to actually optimizing around it. If you want help doing that, that's exactly what we do at Regenics. And if you found this helpful, make sure you're subscribed because we're going to keep breaking this down step by step so you can get the most out of your GLP-1 therapy the right way.